Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us on the Live Unreal with Glover U podcast, where every week, Jeff Glover and his coaches will dive deep into the questions that you're asking. They understand the challenges you're facing on a day-to-day basis because they still work every day on the front lines of real estate, with Jeff and his team closing over 1,000 homes per year. In today's episode, Jeff talks to Glover U coach Matt Sutter about what is business mastery. We will learn from Jeff and Matt more about business mastery and how to know when you are ready to take the next steps to grow your business. Now, let's hear from Jeff and Matt.
All right, we're here with Matt Sutter, the one and only King Leadership Coach here at Glover U, and former regional director of mine, somebody that I answered to and reported to and also learned a lot from. For what it's worth, I consider you a mentor when I was starting out as a new operating principal and learning how to run businesses and run real estate offices. So we have Matt Sutter here today, and I want to ask him some questions. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, hey, I've been hearing a lot of buzz around this business mastery program that you guys have, and we'll get into that in a second because we really haven't actually come out and totally explained every single thing we cover, which we're going to hopefully do for you today. But I do want to know, especially so that way you guys can get to know Matt a little bit better as well. Business mastery, right? What is business mastery, Matt? What makes you qualified to teach it? Talk to us a little bit about when I talk about, or when we talk about the title business mastery, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so to me, thinking about mastering a business really comes down to a pretty simple phrase, which is the ability to utilize time, money, and talent to scale a business, both in scope of size, but also from a profitability and from a margin standpoint.
Got it. So scaling something that's proven.
Yeah, scaling something that's proven, that's built off an actual proven operating model that doesn't just grow for the sake of growth, but grows for the sake of profitability, right? That's what the true masters of business do.
Yeah. So why would I want to scale something that's proven? What's the benefit to me as a lead agent to do that?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, right? As a lead agent, your ability to scale your business, first off, it opens up significant opportunities, right? Jeff, as a mega agent, you know that the scale of your sales team then opens up vehicles into other ventures, other ancillary services and businesses and things like that can build wealth, create additional opportunity, give opportunity to other people in your organization that you want to retain, that quite frankly, if you can't provide them with a significant opportunity, they're going to go find it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a great point. And a perfect example of that actually is right here at Glover U, right? I mean, we have agents that have succeeded at a high level with our system that have said, what's next for me? How can I generate another stream of income, right? And I think about the road analogy that you give. Well, a perfect stream of income for agents that have worked with us in our business is Glover U, right? They can take something they already know, put time and energy, which is not a lot of time and energy, and bring in a whole nother income there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So let me ask you this: what qualifies someone as being ready for that type of discussion? Meaning, let's pretend like a lot of agents, hey, I'm a successful salesperson. I've got a good business where I'm doing 30, 40, 50 units, and I've succeeded as a salesperson, but I really have no experience in running a business. Am I qualified to what comes to mind when I'm at that level, right? Like, what do you think of agents that are at the 30 or 40 deal a year level and want to go to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think you actually said something right at the beginning that's important to understand. And you and I talk about this a lot. There's really three distinct muscle groups that make someone successful in a business enterprise. The first one, the one that we have a lot of training in our industry on, is sales skills, right? It's our ability to use scripts and dialogues and presentation to persuade or influence people to make a decision, right? Those are sales skills. And they're the foundational piece of any real estate business. Yeah. Now, the challenges in our industry, Jeff, we know that there's very, very limited resources for the other two muscle groups, which is leadership muscles and business muscles. So for people that are really interested in understanding how do I actually take the journey into business mastery, you need to start with the foundation of sales skills. Somebody that hasn't mastered sales skills would actually be foolish to be spending a lot of their time on that, because then they're not doing things in the right sequential order. Does that make sense?
Got it. Makes perfect sense. And what I love about what you said is especially for a program like Business Mastery, you would actually recommend that somebody focus on building their sales skills in that foundation first before they go down the path of Business Mastery.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to say that take your current age and subtract 3. Like as in the number 3, and that's the number of years that you've been working on your sales skills, right? We start our sales skills as probably even earlier than 3 years old, but when we're trying to get an extra dessert, or when we're trying to stay up an hour extra later. So we've been honing those skills for almost of our entire life. And the truth is, to reach mastery in the other 2 skill set areas, the leadership muscles and the business muscles, take just as much time, energy, and attention to develop them. So if we haven't fully mastered the sales skills and then we're trying to layer those other 2 on top, it's like building a house without a solid foundation. It just doesn't make any sense.
Got it. Now, I know a lot of successful realtors out there that have great sales skills, and we talk about they operate probably very much what we call you and I talk about this a lot, a personality-based business, right? Meaning they get business, get by, maybe make good money even, 6-figure type money based on their personality. And unfortunately, they also normally hit a plateau because of their personality. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so personality-based business is based on our ability to sell and influence people to make a decision with us. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with a personality-based business. That's perfectly acceptable. And Jeff, like you just kind of alluded to, sales skills can generate a significant amount of cash. There's no question. The problem is it's not scalable. And the reason for that is because of time. We simply only have 24 hours in a day. And so even if we were to exhaust all 24 hours to the fullest extent of our personality capacity, there is a ceiling in which our business can go no further. It's only at that point that by adding in the leadership components and the true business building components that we can scale beyond the limitations that a 24-hour day provides on us as an individual.
Got it. So most realtors, probably 90%, I would imagine, and I know you've worked with a lot of them, have the sales down. They figured out the scripts. They figured out how to present. They figured out how to close. They figured out how to handle objections. They figured out how to work as a salesperson in the industry. But beyond that, they can't. There's only so much time in the day for them to succeed, and if it's not, they don't work on the other 2 muscles, then they're going to hit a ceiling at some point.
Yeah, there's no question. And I mean, look at your sales organization, for example. And I mean this, obviously, in the years knowing you, I truly believe you're one of the best sales skilled person in the entire industry, period. And yet the success of JGA was less about your sales skills and more about your leadership and business building skills to be able to put together an infrastructure that attracted top talent. Because I always use the analogy, if you take the best salesperson in the world, the best, and you compete head to head with somebody that puts together 100 even average agents, those 100 people are going to run circles around the individual because, again, we get back down to there's only 24 hours in the day. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, and I appreciate you saying that. I had a coach tell me once, a pretty well-known coach that works with several other agents in our market. And this coach told me, he said, Jeff, your competitors think that your unfair advantage is that you learned how to recruit and train and manage, and you ran a real estate office. And they honestly feel like that's not them. They're not going to be able to compete with you because they didn't have the opportunity to do that, A, or B, don't want to take the financial step back because, as you know, I mean, I came right out of the gate swinging, 30 some homes my first year. I was kicking butt. I took half pay basically to become a manager, right? I went from probably $140, $150 in income to a $60,000 salary with like the most I can make on bonuses, maybe $75,000 to manage and train and recruit and learn financial statements and learn what's profitable, what's not profitable. And I still have, this particular coach has said, Jeff, your competitors think that they can't touch you because of that, A, or B, because then of course my response is, well, they could go do that too, right? But then what's the response to that? Well, yeah, but they're not going to take that income cut, right? Well, if I can't take that income cut, I can't do what Jeff did. I can't go be a manager for a real estate office. I can't take that income cut. What is the next best thing I can do? And I believe you created it with the Business Mastery Program.
That was the intent, right? Jeff, you and I have a similar story in that we both gave up, in my case, I gave up several $100,000 a year in income from my sales business to go take that leadership journey. And so what we've done cumulatively, we've put our, now we've got about 4 decades between the two of us. I mean, we're getting up there in years.
I know.
It's really
this June will be 18 years for me. I cannot believe it.
It's about the same for me. Yeah, it's wild. And so what we've done is we've really just taken our combined cumulative knowledge, both from the sales side, but really specifically from the leadership and the business building side. And we packaged this together in what I believe the most comprehensive business building and leadership mastery course in the entire industry, because frankly, nobody's having these conversations at a high level.
So if I don't want to take a major pay cut and go be a manager, a broker, a team leader, and learn this from the ground up, we collectively created a program to where somebody could not experience any setback at all. Because by the way, when I went to go be a manager, Matt, I went from 37 transactions to less than 10 in 1 year because, right, I didn't have the time. I had to learn how to recruit and train and motivate and retain. And I mean, even the basics in terms of here's what an awesome sales meeting looks like, right? I had to learn how to put on an awesome sales meeting for our team. And I had to take a 2-year, really, I guess 3, if you count the time I spent, in the next role that I was in, but I had to take a 2 to 3 year setback in my real estate business and take a substantial hit in my income to learn all these things. And we said, hey, we can put this all together for you. You can learn it all in 4 months at a very fast pace and not have a setback in your business, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Both of us could have accelerated our leadership and business building journeys if we had just simply had this, and it just wasn't available.
It was not. And there's still, like you said, there's not many people, if anyone, talking about stuff like this, right? Even the 45-minute talk that you're doing for real estate offices out there. I know a lot of real estate offices are having to do a lot of Zoom webinars right now. And you're talking about profit and commission splits and percentage of profit based on splits. I mean, those conversations are not happening. You know what conversations are happening? Double your units, quadruple your GCI, change your volume, right? Like those are the conversations that most people want to hear because they're sexy and cool, right?
Yep.
So talk to us a little bit about business mastery. What could I accomplish? How could we take the stuff that you and I had to spend years in this financial setback learning? How can I learn all this possibly in 4 months?
Yeah, well, the truth is you cannot, let's get really clear, you cannot master these concepts in 4 months. What you can do is be introduced and learn the way that high-level leaders and high-level business people think and operate.
Yep.
And then begin to adopt the principles over a period of time, right? Mastery still takes, listen, there's no shortcut. Mastery still takes time on task over time to do it. Yet I know, I'm sure I'm speaking for you as well, I just wish I had had a roadmap earlier so that I wouldn't have had to fail and learn all of these lessons on my own through, failure and lost money and lost business relationships and the loss of key talent on some of my organizations, right? And that's the premise behind this class. In addition, Jeff, one of the things that why we put this together is because, you and I spend a lot of time studying other agents' businesses. Right now I'm coaching right around $2 billion in cumulative annual volume. So I'm there with the best and understand their business. And I'm just shocked at the number of agents that have huge businesses that have profit margins in the single digits. And I was going to say, it's great to be up on stage and get that shiny ribbon for your big business. But at the end of the day, that ribbon isn't funding your life. Only profit can do that.
And by the way, you on one hand, you want to kind of say shame on those agents that aren't thinking like business people. But honestly, Matt, can you blame them? I mean, think about who they're learning from. In most cases, they're learning from a team leader or an office manager who didn't really have a ton of real estate sales experience. And if they didn't have a ton of real estate sales experience, they probably didn't have a lot of business sales experience. And so who are you learning how to run a business from? And I think that's the reason why there's such a need for this type of program, because there aren't a lot of people out there that have proven to understand the leadership in business side. And you and I have, right? We have proven track records to show that we went from salesperson to business person. Do it. So we already know that, people that might end up watching this, if they're doing 20, 30, 40, even 50 transactions, they got the sales muscle down. So talk to us about the leadership and business muscle. When you say that, give me some specifics. What does that actually mean? Like, what are some of the topics that we cover in this 4 months together?
Yeah, and by the way, and I want to hit on a point because it would be very easy to misconstrue the target audience for this class. Yes, absolutely, this is targeted towards top producing agents that really want to go to the proverbial next level, but actually in a sustainable, proven way. But this session is also designed for leaders of brokerages, team leaders of offices. These are the conversations that do two things. One, it'll better prepare them to be able to have coaching relationships and conversations with their agents. Yet the same fundamentals of building a large sales team are the exact same fundamentals of building a large brokerage or building a large real estate office. So quite frankly, I think anyone going on a business building or leadership building journey is going to want some of this content. So, the things we talk about in this class, and again, we've got 24 sessions, so we're able to get a lot of meat in. There is no fluff in this. But we're going to talk about the key business models that create growth and how do you actually implement them into your business. We're going to talk about how do you recruit talent, how do you train them, how do you lead them, how do you hold them accountable, and how do you make sure that you retain them, right, Jeff? We see some of the top teams in the country, and it's a proverbial revolving door. It's 3 agents in, 3 agents out, 3 agents in, 3 agents out. And we want to make sure that we're able to lead people and move them in a way that they're going to stay. We talk about how do we attract people through our mission and vision, and how do we build a culture revolving around our core values. People are starved for vision, right? Vision is a skill that has to be developed if we're going to effectively get people up the mountain. Yes. We talk about how do we develop leaders within our organization. One of the fatal flaws for any real estate brokerage or sales team is that the leader becomes the bottleneck at the top. In other words, the leader becomes surrounded by 1,000 assistants that all need the leader's decision-making process, right? We need other leaders in our business. How do you develop them? So go ahead. I think you got a comment on that.
No, I was just going to say, that's something we learned. I learned the hard way probably 3-4 years ago in our business. We were very well known in our market in Michigan for developing great salespeople. But they hit a ceiling. And so we shifted our focus to, we developed leaders. In fact, even when we changed our mission, we went through the whole process of creating a mission, our own vision, values, so forth. And we added the term leaders to that, because that's what's next for people that have success in sales. They want to learn how to become a leader. And unless you have a plan in your organization as part of your team to teach people how to become leaders, they're going to go find somebody else that's going to teach them how to do that. So I love that that's part of the program. So it's a 24 sessions. All right. Is this over what span of time? 6 months?
So about 6 months, we do 1 call a week, and then there's always a homework assignment that is directly applicable to what we've been learning, that is designed for implementation into your business in that period, right? So we've talked about that mastery doesn't happen over a 6-month journey. However, we want to get you taking those initial steps in each of these core areas so that you're actually getting some traction from the content.
Got it. So 24 sessions on how to develop your leadership and business muscles in real estate. Nothing to do with sales skills or listing appointments or buyer consultations. You're not talking about any of that, right?
Yeah, that's correct. This is for people that are ready to progress to the next step.
Got it. And so how long is each session, meaning the call per week?
Yeah, on average, they're about 45-minute sessions.
Yep.
Occasionally, maybe a little bit longer, a little shorter, but right around 45 minutes. They are recorded and then sent out, and we do absolutely, because there's part of our Glover U signature, right, is there's no fluff. It's all hardcore content, and so we want to send out the sessions because you're going to want to review these over time. There's a lot of meat there to get out.
Yep, got it. And so this would be an alternative, because I know this is cheaper than one-on-one coaching. I mean, we have dozens of people that pay $1,000 a month to coach with you one-on-one. And I know that we've shifted, for those that are following, and I know you've said it also, but we really want Matt focused on the business mastery group and speaking to that group. So it's not, we have people that reach out to want to coach with you one-on-one, and we have to turn them down because you just don't have any more room in your schedule. So this is an opportunity also for someone to spend 45 minutes a week learning from you, the same guy that I spent time learning from, and not have to pay $1,000 a month, right? Isn't it like half that price? What is the cost of the program?
Yeah, and I'm not $1,000 a month anymore. So I mean, it's just the demand.
You're right. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And so what we wanted to do was create an opportunity for people to have access to the same content I'm delivering to the one-on-one individuals, but without having to make that rather sizable investment and to do so.
So the program's $4.99 a month. Is that right?
Yeah, $4.99 a month for 6 months. Yep.
So if my math is correct, that's $3,000.
Yes.
So in most markets, $3,000 is like half of one commission check. So I can commit half of one commission check to get 6 months of business mastery.
We laugh, Jeff, because I think you and I know, and it has nothing to do with you and me. It's the content. I would have paid 10 times this amount. I had to take a $60,000 to $70,000 cut each year for 2 to 3 years, and I knew I could be making more in sales. I knew I would have went from 150 to 200 to 250. I had to take a substantial cut to learn how to do all this stuff because there wasn't any programs like this. That's right. Yep, you and me both.
So for $4.99 a month times 6 months, so for a $3,000 investment, I can get everything on recruiting and training and retaining and motivating and creating a value proposition and understanding financial statements. Is there anything else in the program that we cover that we haven't mentioned?
I mean, just worth its weight in gold is we have some really fantastic financial conversations around creating value propositions for the agents on your team that don't require the value proposition to be tied to commission split or number of leads given. Those are the killers of sales teams, because then we're negotiating splits all the time. And that's why most big sales teams, their profit margins are in the single digits.
Yep. And that's why I can't tell you how many people, even today, I did a Zoom session for an office out in Boise, Idaho. And one of the agents texted me afterwards and said, "Hey, I remember when you came here back in 2009, you talked about stay in production. Well, I got all caught up in this idea of getting out of production so I can focus on A, B, and C. And now I'm back in production. So, I understand that this is a common thing that's happening around the country. If you can master the sales plus the business and do them simultaneously, then you're fine, right? Don't be in this big rush to get out of production, because that is part of the attraction of being with you. That's part of the value proposition. Am I right, Matt?
You're 100%. We actually go into the math behind it. Now, by the way, nobody has to be an expert in math. I know most of us did not get into real estate because we loved math, but we actually break it out for you so you can see it visually. But Jeff, here's the thing. Whether you eventually get out of production or not, really the key is, are you actually profitable off the agents in your business? And that's where a lot of sales teams, their profitability is actually being artificially pumped up just because of their production. Now, that's great. However, once you're ready to leave, then you have an unprofitable business.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And that is a lesson for anyone. When you factor in anything, your per person productivity number, you have to subtract your units. When you're figuring out your GCI and your profit based on GCI, you have to subtract your production, right? That's how you get a true picture of whether you have a business or not, right?
Love 100%, hands down.
So 24 weeks, and when does the next session start?
We are starting Tuesday, June 2nd, and Jeff, you and I agree on this. We cap it. This is not a sales pitch.
Yeah.
We cap the number of attendees, and the reason is because part of my objective is to make sure that I'm able to give enough one-on-one attention to those people that want to engage at a higher level or apply it directly to their business. And so we simply just can't put 150 people in it.
Yeah, no, we don't. When we originally announced that we were doing Business Mastery from the stage down in Orlando, we said we were gonna cap it at 25 back then, and you and I've talked about capping it even at a smaller group, like maybe even a dozen, just so the people in the program can get the greatest level, right? We've all been on webinars and Zooms of thousands of people. I mean, the speaker doesn't know who you are. They don't even know you're there. I mean, you get down and dirty on some of these conversations, and the smaller the group, the more effective it is. Right?
Bingo.
So that's why we have a process. I mean, we have people that reach out that maybe inquire or want to be a part of it. And I hate to say this, but we steer them in a different direction, right? We say, Business Mastery isn't right for you right now, but maybe the Glover U sales system is, or maybe one-on-one coaching is, because they're just not at the point where they've mastered the sales process, right? So
that's right. That's right.
Kind of understood. Maybe they've been cranking along the last 5 years, doing 25 deals, 50 deals, whatever that number is, and now they're ready to go to the next level. So it starts a week from today. And what time are the sessions? Do we have that yet?
I believe we're looking at 12:30 Eastern.
12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if somebody wants to inquire or has additional questions about the program, where do they go?
Best resource would be gloveru.com/business mastery. So gloveru.com/business mastery.
gloveru.com/business mastery, or you can just email at info@gloveru.com. Just send us your information. We'll have someone from our team reach out and we'll ask you a couple questions. Because like I said, and like Matt said, this isn't for everybody. And this is a unique opportunity to fast forward what took Matt and I years to learn. You have the opportunity to learn it in 6 months for $3,000, which is ridiculous when I think about how much money I lost having to learn the lessons the hard way. For $3,000, it would have been a steal, right?
Yeah, dead on.
Good. Any last things that we should know, or anything that you had written down that I didn't ask you?
No, I don't think so. I'm super excited. This has really become my baby, and I'm really passionate about it. And I think most people can tell by the way I talk about it and by the sessions I deliver. So we're looking forward to anybody that's really ready to go on that journey.
Yep. Awesome. Again, that's gloveru.com/business mastery. Also, I wouldn't be doing my job, Matt, if I didn't take this opportunity to remind everyone we're rolling out, which is part of Business Mastery, we're rolling out the new post-COVID business plan during Relead. So if you want to get registered for that, just go to gloveru.com/plan. gloveru.com/plan. It is the exact same plan that we're sharing with our team here at JGA. And we've got big plans for the second half of the year. So that's for free. You can join us for that. Obviously, if you're a business person, a salesperson that's on this, it doesn't matter what your role is, you should be revising your business plan. And I'm going to talk all about that for the Relead session. So if you have questions and you want to talk to us about Business Mastery, which is starting a week from today, info@gloveru.com or gloveru.com/business mastery. And other than that, that's all I got. Matt, unless you have anything else, let's send everyone off and have a great rest of the week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for taking your time to join Jeff and Matt today on the Live Unreal with Glover U podcast. To get started on having an unreal business, take the real estate self-assessment. After you complete the assessment, a member of Glover U will get on a call with you to create an action plan to improve your score. Go to www.gloveru.com/self. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Search for Live Unreal with Glover U on iTunes, Podbean, or Spotify, and subscribe today. Until next time, remember to take the journey into business mastery. Start with the foundation of sales skills. Somebody that hasn't mastered sales skills would be foolish spending a lot of time on business mastery because they are not doing things in the right sequential order.